What's up, you guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Ask Alex Show. I am so glad to do this show with you guys again, and I could not do this show without my amazing co-host, partner in crime, Mr. Jeremy Branch from the pop culture. I'm gonna say this right, nihilist.
Let's
Yes,
go.
yes. How
Let's
are you? How
go.
are you doing today, Jeremy?
Man, I'm glad to be talking to you. It's been a little while. It's good to be
Yeah.
making content with you, obviously, but just to catch up, it'll be a good time. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Fun fact, Ian couldn't be with us today, but fun fact,
That is a fun fact. Oh yeah.
Ian got married a couple weeks ago, and we were supposed to all link together. So it was kind of disappointing not seeing Jeremy, but I'm glad I get to see you, man. Because last time I talked to you, you weren't feeling well. You had like bronchitis, something like that.
Yeah. This has been the season of the sick.
Mm,
Obviously, there's still the ongoing COVID situation, but
mm,
flu season has been wiping people out. And then there was this third thing.
mm.
It's not HPV, but it's like it's not that. It's like a respiratory thing. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I had. I didn't feel like traveling. I didn't feel like getting on a plane and going and making people sick at my friend's wedding. So I ended
Mm.
up staying home and sleeping through the weekend. But damn, I feel like I missed out. So it was a good time.
Oh man, it was such a good time.
Good.
Yeah, it was good seeing Ian and his family, and then also some people that we know through the content culture was there. So it was fun, man. Shout out to Ian and his lovely wife Tati. But
Toddy looked amazing as a bride. She,
oh,
she and
definitely.
Ian lucked out. I don't know what he did to lock that down, but congratulations to Ian.
Yeah, congratulations to Ian. He
Mhm.
definitely lucked out. Man, we love you guys. And hopefully in the near future, we'll definitely get you on the show as soon as possible. But guys, we have a jam-packed show for you guys today. And if you want your question or topic on the show, it's very simple. Just send me an email at the Ask Alex Show at gmail.com. That's the Ask Alex Show at gmail.com. You know, it's funny. I've been doing this show for the last few years and people still use that email. So I am so grateful that you continue to email me questions and topics. If I can't answer it here, I definitely email you directly. And yeah, and if you want to listen to this show on audio, we got it on Spotify. This show will be made available on Spotify audio
Nice.
podcast. So if you can't watch it with us, but you want to listen to us, you can definitely listen to us on Spotify. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into our main topics. But before we jump into our main topics, guys, there's something I have to mention. This is something I've never done before on Ask Alex. So recently, a man of culture, Mr. Jason David Frank, who basically started the crazy wave of Power Rangers, passed away a couple of days ago. Normally, I did get a lot of emails about what I thought about the situation, but instead of answering those emails, I wanted to give you guys a personal story, which I won't take too long about it, but how I met Jason David Frank and how Power Rangers did mean to me, did mean to me as I was growing up. Now I did watch Power Rangers growing up, but like right around age, I want to say 11, maybe 12, I kind of stopped watching because it kind of got cheesy. But I will say, when I was watching Power Rangers, Tommy was my favorite Power Ranger. I mean, he was such a badass. He was so cool, and he was an actual Jason David Frank was an actual martial artist. I remember watching some MMA videos, and he would come out to the Power Rangers theme, and he just would be like he brought the spirit of Power Rangers to life. And honestly, I wouldn't think Power Rangers as a strong commodity if you can't like talk about Power Rangers without talking about him.
Nope.
And in 2018, it was my first time going to any Comic Con. I went to Pensacon, and I met Jason David Frank, and he he was so nice that even though he was charging people to take photos, he even told, I think, one of his agents, he said, "Listen, let's not take any money. Anybody wants to take a photo with me, just bring them up." And I was just like, whoa. Like, because most people at those type of venues, they only make money from their merch. They don't like Pensacon doesn't necessarily. I don't think they pay people to come there. Like they may fly them out, but I don't think they like give them a check. Correct me wrong, Jeremy, because I know that you worked the Pensacon event as well. I don't know if they pay celebrities to come out there, but I know they fly them out and get them booked at hotels. But I don't think they actually pay them to come out because they make a lot of money from their merch. And when I met Jason David Frank, he was so nice. He signed the Pensacon program that I had, and he would be charging for signing, but he didn't charge me for it. He signed that for me. He took a photo with me and with my coworkers at the time, and he was so nice. I met him again here in Orlando at MegaCon, same type of thing. Not charging people, just checking on people. He was such a genuine dude who loved what he did, and for him to die in the way that he did is actually really sad. It makes you think about your loved ones. And I was just telling Jeremy off camera, like it was good talking to Jeremy for so long because we haven't really spoken or done content, and you just never know what other people are going through, and I would hope that his family, and because he had 4 kids and his wife, I would hope that they are getting through this trying time. I don't know what he was going through personally, but I would just say if anyone is going through something, or if you don't know that they're going through something, it's okay to check up on them, especially people that you love the most, or even people that you really don't know. Just check up on them because you don't know what battles that they're fighting. So I would just say rest in peace, Jason David Frank. I know I love being around you. I love talking to you. Jeremy, did you have any memories with Jason David Frank? And did you meet him at Pensacon or meet him at a Comic Con?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. And it was the same kind of scenario. Like I echo what you said. Um, I feel like there are, I mean, there's more than two kinds of people, but there's two distinctive kind of polar opposites when it comes to the convention circuit. I think that there are people that get into the industry because they love the craft, they love the Hollywood community, and for them, working is everything. So going to conventions can sometimes, to a certain kind of person, be like ego death, right? Like they
Right.
feel like maybe they've slipped out of relevance. And then other people are in the industry that legitimately love their fans and love connecting with the people that kind of made their work the cultural touchstones that they were. In this case, Tommy, who Jason David Frank played in the Power Rangers, he started off as the Green Ranger as a villain, became the White Ranger, kind of led the Power Rangers through several different
Mhm.
iterations. So he had a really long lasting and impactful career to many. I was 11 when Power Rangers came out. It was on, like I saw it. I grew up with the Power Rangers, and while I didn't necessarily grow up loving it, when you meet somebody like Jason David Frank and see the way that he connects with his fans, you just know that there's something special there. Like there's something that he felt so enthusiastic about it, and it's such a shame that mental illness can convince certain people that the world would be better off without them, right?
Yeah.
Because on one hand, it's such an asshole move to succumb to suicide, but that's kind of the nature of what makes it so dangerous in the first place. Is like
Mhm.
if I if I burn myself, I'm going to get a blister. If I cut myself, I'm going to bleed. If I bump my head, I'm going to get a bruise. But if your pain is internal, then nobody can see it. And you have to, if you are somebody that's struggling with depression, you have to, and I know it's hard because of the nature of the illness, but you've got to be proactive and take your own health into your own hands because people cannot fight that battle alone.
Yeah.
You think that wealth and celebrity is going to cure you of those kind of problems, but this just happens time and time again where we're talking about some of the greats, whether it be Chester Bennington from Linkin Park,
Mhm.
Chris Cornell from Soundgarden, Kurt Cobain from
Yeah.
Nirvana. I mean, the list just goes on, and it's a tragedy. So yeah, rest in peace to Jason David Frank, and also I really hope that his family can find some peace in these trying times because I can't even imagine what they're going through.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you brought up those other names. The guy, I remember when that guy from Lincoln Park took his life.
Yeah.
That threw me a loop because uh uh we used to listen to that music all the time. Oh my god, it was just, and I remember when that happened, that rocked my soul. And at the time I was young, I didn't know what suicide was. And then as I got older, you come to understand those things. But yeah, man, if you know someone who's going through something, or if you don't know someone who's going through something, it's okay to check on people.
Yep.
And I would just encourage anyone who's close to any form of a celebrity or whoever, you know, when you meet those people, do not give them a hard time, because everybody is fighting a battle that you don't know about.
Yeah.
And I heard John Campea say that yesterday, and I had to really think about that. It was like, there are plenty of people who work in our space, in the YouTube space or the celebrity pop culture space, who we think have it all, but they could be battling something so internal that we don't even know what they're going through. So
Yeah.
my love and prayers go to his family, and I pray that everything works out with his kids and loved ones. So but yeah, me and Jeremy want to give like just a small little tribute to Mr. Jason David Frank. Rest in power, my friend. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into our first topic of the day. And our first topic comes from a Mr. Keith Beers, one of my coworkers, and he was right. He writes, "Hey guys, it looks like Blade has a new director. It looks like Yann. I think I'm going to pronounce his last name wrong. Yann Demange will be directing the new Blade movie, and it will be a darker film amongst the rest of the MCU. What do you think about this news?" All right. Well, thank you for your question, Mr. Keith. Um, if you guys don't know, Blade has been going through like a heavy director swap, writing swap issue ever since the announcement of Blade. I know that there have been reports that Mahershala Ali was very upset about the process, what was going on, and also a lot of what was coming out of the script. He wasn't cool with the writing, and the producers weren't cool with the writing. Hell, I even heard Kevin Feige was getting upset with some of the things that were going on on the Blade project. Now, we knew that they were going to be rewriting the story. Apparently, they were supposed to debut some concept footage, or not footage, but art at D23, this past D23 of this year, but due to delays and things of that nature, they couldn't get it off the ground. Well, now last night, Yann Demange, the guy who directed Lovecraft Country, by the way, an amazing limited series on HBO Max, will be directing Blade. And my thoughts on it is that he did such a good job on Lovecraft Country, and I believe he did a couple episodes of Rick and Morty as well. I'm interested to see where they take this character. Now, I will say though, Blade is becoming like, it's slowly becoming like the Black Adam joke that was going around. Like, it was announced years ago, and we haven't seen any development from it. But it seems like they're on the right track. And given the changing at the guard at Disney, it only seems right that which we'll definitely get into in the show, but it only seems right that this particular director will make this film a little bit more darker. I hope that we get to see more of a martial arts blood filled killing machine that Blade is. But then again, it's going to be in the MCU, so I wonder what that's going to look like. So Jeremy, what do you think about this news about a new director tackling Blade, and do you think that we'll see this project actually become a thing towards the end of 2023 going into 2024?
I don't know. I mean, first of all, Mahershala Ali is such a talented actor. Really big fan of him. I think he's a great get for this part. The director worked on Lovecraft Country, which was great. He also directed White Boy Rick, which was a good movie. He's got potential. I think he seems like a natural fit for this project, considering Lovecraft Country's kind of gothic horror overtones. I thought Werewolf by Night was really cool. The Marvel kind of standalone black and white horror movie homage that they put on Disney Plus. That was cool. So like, I'm interested to see more of this horror side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But, and we saw it with Wakanda Forever just now, not only does this movie have to tell its own story, it obviously has to tie into the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe, which in my approximation, some of the less successful moments of Black Panther Wakanda Forever were simply having to shoehorn in characters like Valentina and
Ironheart.
Yeah, Ironheart, because she's got a show coming out. Like some of it, if it were not in the movie, it would have been 2.5 hours and it would have been almost perfect. So
Right.
the reason why that is a challenge is because the horror side of things, which the envelope was pushed in Moon Knight and then again in Werewolf by Night, as in the amount of blood and violence that they were able to show. But then it's also contrasted with the fact that these essentially need to be 4-quadrant movies that families can take their kids to go see.
Mm-hmm.
The original 1998 Blade is one of my favorite superhero movies. I thought like Wesley Snipes is to that character so inextricably linked that it's going to be hard to see any other interpretation, because the swagger that Wesley Snipes brought to that role was just so, to me, that was Blade. So I like the casting because I know he's a talented, actor, but he's not Wesley Snipes. So
Right.
I don't know, like our introduction to Blade happened at the end of one of the worst Marvel movies.
That's
So
true.
like, is that going to get me hype? Is the fact that they tacked on this Blade thing at the end of Eternals? I don't know how Blade fits into that world, much less into the Avengers world, if they like compartmentalized each of these different little subgenres, where we've got like the Captain America and Winter Soldier world that doesn't have to mess with the Doctor Strange world, that doesn't have to mess with the, but it all has to work together. So I am really curious if it's going to succeed. Yes, it's going to happen. I mean, we're too far along in production. It's been announced too much. So we're going to see it in one form or another. And with the exception of Black Panther, I think the quality of the movies of Marvel have been on a slight decline in phase 4. Not that there weren't good television series, and not that I don't like any of it, but just I get I get less and less sure of the future as projects go along. Though that said, the Quantumania trailer looks pretty badass. So we'll see how it goes moving forward.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And Jeremy put up a really good point. Like, how are we going to see Blade fit in this 4-quadrant MCU where these movies are PG-13? I haven't seen anything in the MCU that was even NC-17 yet. And like, I want to see Blade, the traditional Blade that we know, but at the same time, I do trust Kevin Feige to integrate uh Blade into the MCU successfully. I just want to know how. And he's right. I forgot about it too when he brought it up. We got our introduction to Blade into one of the worst MCU movies ever. And we don't even see him. We just
It
hear his
was corny,
voice.
bro. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Right. We just hear his voice. He was like, I don't know if you want to do that, Mr. Whatever. I forgot his name or something like that.
Jon Snow.
Yeah, Mr. Jon Snow. I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see it. I do like the director. So I'm hoping we're gonna get a Blade movie probably in no later than 2024. At least I want to see a trailer or some concept art or something of what we're going to get out of this film. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is a great addition to the Blade movie? Do you think it'll be made by the end of 2024? Jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. And let's go ahead and jump into the next question. The next question comes from Miss Iris People.
Hey, favorite guest or favorite question submitter.
Definitely, definitely. And she writes, hey guys, so with it looks like Bob Chapek learned he was fired the day it was announced. According to reports, he was made aware of his firing through the media outlets and no one from Disney gave him a call.
Ooh, ouch.
What do you think about this news? Well, thank you for your question, Iris. For what you guys don't know, literally in the last 24 to 36 hours, Disney had a major shakeup. And for those who don't know, I live in Orlando, Florida, so Disney is freaking everywhere. And I was at a Publix, just grocery shopping, And I heard somebody say, "Oh my God, Bob Chapek has been fired," and I was like, "That don't sound right." So I looked at my phone and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is really real."
Wild.
And I was blown away. I was like, "Well," and the first thing I said, "Oh, John Campea is probably really happy right now. He's probably really happy right now with this decision." But what you guys don't know, literally over the last 24 to 36 hours, Bob Chapek was relieved of his duties as CEO. Bob Iger has returned back only for a 2 year minimum 2 year minimum program, not program, but just action until he transitions somebody else to lead. And once he's done with his 2 years, according to reports, it's being said that I guess the people at Disney were not happy about everything that was going on content wise with Bob Chapek at the helm of CEO. Now, I have been critical of Bob Chapek in terms of the things he's done at the theme parks and also what he's done with content. Apparently, he launched an ad supported Disney Plus tier, which is the same price as the regular Disney Plus tier.
Oh,
So
sign me up.
yeah, like I'm like, so I'm gonna sign up for Disney Plus just to watch ads at the same price as the regular one. Yeah, that made no sense. And according to the reports today that I saw in Hollywood Reporter, that Bob Chapek is claiming that he found out he was fired through the media. He's saying that he found out yesterday, just like everybody else, and nobody from Disney gave him a call warning him about him being fired. Now, my thoughts on it, Iris, is basically this. Bob Chapek is lying his ass off. He's lying his ass off. And here's the reason why I know he's lying his ass off. There is no way in the world after you get your contract renewed, then they fire you on the spot and they put it out to the media and that's how you find out. There's no, I'm not saying Disney is a perfect company, but they have their shit in order. And I will say this, Campia made a point yesterday that I later went and back and asked one of my friends who works at Marvel Marketing. And Campia said, which this is not, I don't know how true this is, but this is what Campia said. He said that the different heads of the different departments of Disney, from the theme parks, Disney movie animation, Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm, went to the board and said they had an issue with Bob Chapek leading the helm and changing all the different things that were happening at the different departments at Disney. When I asked the guy who works at marketing for Marvel, is that a true statement? He said he couldn't confirm or deny it, but he said that his boss kept having a lot of meetings with the board members about the changing of the guard. And he said that for certain reasons that he can't explain so he doesn't lose his job, there were a lot of times where Bob Chapek even threatened some certain people in his department that they were going to lose their jobs because he felt like that they weren't necessary. He felt like more business people should be in the marketing world, not actual people who went to school for marketing. So when he told me that, I was like, well, damn. I was like, it seemed like this dude didn't know what he was doing. But when I heard the news, I remember sharing it with Jeremy and Ian on our group chat. And I was just like, I was actually floored, but it actually makes sense. And I'm gonna tell you why it makes sense. And this, I know I don't want to make it seem like one has anything to do with the other, but David Zaslav got Alan Horn to come back to Warner Brothers, and it seems like they're about to start cranking out top-notch content just by the moves that they're making. I can honestly say this last couple of years of what Disney's been able to put out, from Lucasfilm to even Marvel and even Pixar, it's been kind of substandard. So with Zaslav making major moves and the board is like, listen, like, we can't have our competitors outshine us. We want Iger to come back. And then also I do think the board members were probably pissed at Iger because remember, Iger was the one who appointed Chapek. He gave us Chapek. Yep. So they were probably like, listen, we need you to come back and get rid of this dude. Like, this dude has no idea what he's doing. We're losing billions of dollars. And I didn't even realize this until yesterday. You guys realize we haven't had a Star Wars movie in like the last 2 to 3 years. Well, we've gotten TV content, but we haven't got a Star Wars movie. And Star Wars is rooted in the theater experience. So I'm actually flabbergasted by this news. Jeremy, you heard the same thing that I heard. What do you think about Big Iger coming back, Bob Iger coming back to his role? And what do you think about Chapek learning, quote unquote, that he found out about his firing in the media, just like everybody else?
I wasn't in the grocery store like you. As a matter of fact, I think Victoria told me yesterday when she got home, and I was surprised that she was the one breaking it to me because I'm normally more plugged into that kind of stuff. But the fact that she knew just shows how major this news is because Disney, like maybe Marvel, I don't even want to say that. Marvel and Star Wars might be a little more niche than Disney, but Disney is like in every household in America kind of situation. Marvel and Star Wars might be as well, but even more than that. And because Disney owns those two things as well as Pixar, it makes them so omnipresent in the world of entertainment that there's not a person in the world that this doesn't probably somehow affect, right? Like it's crazy how substantial this is. And I didn't think about the correlation between what's happening at the House of the Mouse in addition to what's happening over at Warner Discovery. That's wild, and it might actually play more of a factor than I would have thought of. So over the last year, Disney stocks are down 40%. This news that Bob Chapek was stepping down and being replaced with Bob Iger spiked their market shares or market value up like 8% immediately. We are Florida residents. As you said, you live in Orlando. I live here in Pensacola, but make that trek fairly often, every couple of years or so. Are you aware of all of the political stuff that's been happening under Bob Chapek's leadership?
Yeah. So what Jeremy's referring to, like like for instance, with the whole "don't say gay" or some of the LGBT slash Republican stuff that's been going on here in the state of Florida, Bob Chapek is actually kind of somewhat in agreement of it. That's why even here, I'll never forget it. There were Disney employees protesting that. So yes, there were a lot of that going on.
Let me, and I am not an expert on this, but let me speak to what I saw is actually that Bob Chapek has been an outspoken ally of the gay rights, not an advocate of Ron DeSantis and his desire to get rid of it.
Right. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what that caused was a lot of contention between the Disney parks and the zoning of the Disney parks versus our government. There was something, and again, I'm not an expert on this, but essentially there were like sanitation and taxes on property that were being paid by Disney that would basically help neighboring towns financially because they had kind of seeped into so many areas outside of just Kissimmee and things like that. But DeSantis decided that he was going to revoke some of their special privileges, which would impact financially all of these areas surrounding the parks. And all that said to say, again, I don't know the intricacies of it. What I do know is that the Florida government was going to war with Bob Chapek because Bob Chapek's progressive ideals were not only like they basically said they were going to be more openly gay in Disney media to counteract the fact that, like you said, there have been historically gay people felt like Disney was not as much of an ally as they should be because Disney is like, a lot of times queer coded, but never openly gay. So they like started putting kisses and same sex kisses in Lightyear. They had the kind of thing with Gaston and LeFou. So, anyways, all that said to say, Bob Chapek was a much more political figure, which made him a much more divisive figure. If you're on the side of his progressive ideology, then maybe this was a win for those values. However, if you are more in the conservative camp and you believe that Disney is family oriented, then do you want these cartoons pushing the gay agenda into your household? So it became like a line in the sand and people were on either side. Bob Iger, I feel like, was really good at navigating that, and that he kind of was able to play both sides. And does that make him an idealist? No. Does it mean that he has real strong values? No. But as a corporation, I wonder if we should be imbuing our values when you can kind of just, like, for a long time, Disney gave to conservative donors and gave to liberal donors. And it was kind of smart because they were able to kind of have their cake and eat it too.
Right.
So while my recounting of what actually happened in Florida is probably extremely murky, that was the kind of the way that I understood it, is that Chapek was a much more divisive figure. Dude, I don't know that there's any possible way that Chapek could have found out through the media. To your point, that's wild, right?
That makes no sense at all. Like, out of all of the stuff that he's been connected to, I'm like, you mean to tell me that? And I want to point out, before I let Jeremy finish, I want to point out what he said is not impossible. There have been actors who found out they got jobs because of what was reported. So I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but that's an actor in comparison to a Disney exec. You mean to tell me? Because when you get fired on that level, you have to sign things. They don't just fire you and they put it out in the media. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. No, that's actually a great point. So I don't know how much that the wokeness argument is such a small picture compared to this overarching thing. I don't know how much involvement Bob Chapek had in what was happening at Marvel with Phase 4. I know Kevin Feige is actually the guy that oversees that. I don't know how much Bob Chapek's input mattered when it came to Lucasfilm and Star Wars, because we know Kathleen Kennedy's over that. I don't know how much of Bob Chapek's influence was involved in Pixar, because is it Lasseter? I know it was Lasseter for a long time. I'm not sure who it is now. Because all of those houses have kind of been trending downward. When you look at Turning Red and you look at Lightyear, these were not big performers. And don't get me wrong, Pixar is not always huge box office, but trending downward. When you look at Star Wars, personally, I'm glad that there hasn't been a Star Wars movie in the theater in a couple years. I say they should wait even longer. Andor is the best Star Wars I think I've ever seen, and it's on Disney Plus. So if you want to watch good Star Wars for adults, I highly recommend checking out Andor. It's not super popular, but it's super freaking good. But again, like, we had The Force Awakens, which was loved, and then it just started trending downwards. So they've had all of these massive investments starting to decline over time. So bringing in Iger was the obvious choice, because under Iger's leadership, everything flourished. Like, it's amazing. It cannot be overstated how much Disney rose to prominence under the leadership of Bob Iger. You know, they are a corporation, and I agree with what you said. It's like, I don't think that they're super ethical. I don't think that they're super, they're shrewd. They try to do things like copyright happy birthday or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to get their money, but I also think that they know how to navigate the public sphere for the most part. Even if Bob Chapek didn't seem to as well, like, Disney's not going to be able to let go of the guy that Bob Iger put in that position in the first place without him knowing? Like, to your point about meetings and stuff, did they like not bump into each other in the hall while all of this thing was going down? I don't know whether they did or not, but yeah, Bob Chapek, peace out. You were a divisive figure that didn't really seem to do the brand of Disney really any favors. And Bob Iger, I think, is he's the dude. You know, he is to Disney, the corporation, what Kevin Feige is to Marvel. So I think this, I don't know if it's going to make Marvel better or Star Wars better or Pixar better, but I think it is going to, as a whole, help the brand out.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with Jeremy. I do think it's going to help the brand out. But to address one thing he said, like Chapek was involved with a lot of decision making amongst the Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars content that's come out. Like, for instance, there are certain things that Kevin Feige wasn't allowed to do in certain projects. Same thing with Kathleen Kennedy. I remember that Disney Investor Day call. There were some movies that were announced that later on have not been made. They've been pushed on the far side, and we don't even know if they're going to get made or not. And that has a lot to do with Chapek, who decided to move their schedule. Also, let's keep in mind, Chapek was the one person who decided he's not going to pay Scarlett Johansson the money that she was owed because she decided to put her movie on Disney Plus. That was not a Kevin Feige decision. That was a decision
Good call
that he made. And I remember reading a report, and I don't know how true this is, and I have nothing to back this up, but I believe Kevin Feige was going to leave. He was like, listen, if this shit keeps happening, I'm out. Like, sue me. Like, I'm going to leave. And I would say Kevin Feige is probably the one person at Marvel you don't want to piss off. He's made that company like over $30 billion just in content alone. That's not including the merchandising that comes with the content. So, personally speaking, Chapek, I won't say that he's a terrible person because I don't know him personally, but I do think that he was not the right fit for this. So it's good to see that Bob Iger coming back. Hopefully he does a good enough job where whoever his successor is can continue on that path. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Bob Chapek learning that he got fired in the media like everyone else did? Well, which I seriously doubt. What are you guys thinking about that? And what do you think about Bob Iger coming back to Disney? Just jump into the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. And I have one final question left. And this question comes from a Larry Davis. And Mr. Davis writes, hey guys, I am super excited for Avatar 2, but it looks like it needs to hit $2 billion just to break even. With all the hype surrounding this film, do you think it will hit $2 billion? Well, thank you for your question, Mr. Davis. What's he's referring to? Literally, James Cameron came out literally like a couple days, yesterday, Monday Night Football, and he basically said that in order for this movie to do well or to break even, it has to hit $2 billion. Now, according to Box Office Mojo, this movie, according to it's like a $300 million movie. It's a 3 hour long film, and basically, in order for you to break even, you have to do double. But I don't know how much money they spent on that marketing campaign. So that marketing campaign could be probably just as much as the budget. I would hope not. That would be stupid. I would hope not. But to answer your question, do I think it would hit $2 billion? I will say this. Don't sleep on James Cameron. Don't. I mean, I like Avatar. I don't think Avatar is the monumental movie like a lot of people say it is. I love what he's been able to do with those characters. I remember watching the first one when I was in high school and watching it in IMAX 3D. This is when Pensacola had the Carmike Theater, and like you could watch everything in the 3D glasses with the IMAX big screen. It was so cool. But if I'm being honest, I don't think this movie's gonna hit $2 billion. I hope it is, but like I stated before, don't doubt James Cameron. There's a reason why the first Avatar is the biggest movie in the world. Like at one point it was Avengers Endgame, now it's Avatar. So, you know, I think personally that with enough marketing and enough good word of mouth, it may hit $2 billion. I saw the final trailer yesterday. It looks beautiful, but ultimately, I don't know what the story is about, and so I am interested to see it. The tickets are on sale, and from what I understand, the ticket pre-sales haven't even hit the Black Panther numbers yet. So
Oh,
yeah, so like I'm not saying that it's not going to hit $2 billion, but Black Panther did $180 million world or $180 million, yeah, in its opening weekend. So if it's not going to hit Black Panther numbers, it only makes me wonder what it's going to hit during the longevity of this film. So, Jeremy, are you excited about Avatar 2? And what do you think about it possibly hitting $2 billion, or do you think it'll hit $2 billion just to break even?
so I agree with you. I agree with you in that the first Avatar movie, it was it was monumental, but the movie itself wasn't all that exceptional. It was an experience. Going and seeing it in the theater was an experience. When I went to Orlando over the summer and I went to Animal Kingdom and I did the Avatar Pandora experiences, it sort of re-sparked that thing, that magic that Avatar was, that like when you're under its spell, it's compelling and it's immersive. But then walking away from it, I'm like, what did I really gain from it? And maybe that's an abstract way of saying, like, I don't think it leaves a lasting impact. Then enters Avatar 2, The Way of the Water, and it instantly moved me. Like, I think the score or the theme that the trailer plays is incredible. The way that water plays such a substantial role in it, and James Cameron's love affair with the ocean, I think it shines through. This idea of like natives versus colonialism, I really resonates, I'm sure, with lots of people. Like there's something universal about that story. Speaking of story, I don't know what it's about either, but there's a couple really good lines in it. Like, oh, no matter where we go, our family is our fortress, like there's good lines in the trailer that even if they don't have a lot of context as to what the hell they're talking about, they sound good in the trailer. It sounds like it's gonna have an emotional impact or emotional depth.
Mm.
um I don't know. Like you said, don't count Cameron out. I mean, Titanic is one of the biggest movies of all time. For a long time, Terminator 2 was high up on that list. James Cameron said, this is from the mouth of James Cameron, this movie was very effing expensive to make and doesn't make sense from a studio financing perspective. It cost over $250 million to produce. It's got tons of new technology in it, which is kind of James Cameron's thing. Every time he makes a movie, he wants to elevate the technical side of filmmaking, and he has. He's done it time and time again. It has to be the third or fourth highest grossing film in history. That's your threshold. That's your break even. So if this isn't up there with the original Avatar, with Endgame, with their movie, I don't even know what in the top 10 are anymore, but and if what you're saying is accurate, that the pre-sales aren't what Black Panther was, which was not the third or fourth grossing highest movie of all time. It
Right.
did great, but it wasn't that kind of numbers.
Right.
Then it's just a huge risk. What will help carry this movie along? Because it's been so long. It's not like the hype is still there off the original Avatar. But if people love this movie and they go back to see it again, or they tell their friends and this movie doesn't drop off 50-60% from week 1 to week 2, but instead it kind of just maintains for months,
Mm-hmm.
then it can recoup its budget. And I don't know. I don't know. If I had to put money on it right now, I would say that this movie will not be in the top four grossing movies of all time.
Yeah. And also keep in mind, I want to point this out. The reason why, which is not necessarily an asterisk, but the reason why Avatar is the highest grossing movie is because that thing has been re-released in theaters multiple and multiple and multiple times. Now
Yep.
that doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing. That just means people love to see it in theaters. It just means that in comparison to an average, like for instance, Black Panther is not going to get re-released in theaters. It's just not, unless they decide to do it. Okay, they're not going to re-release that movie. But Avatar has been re-released in theaters multiple times, and I think Avatar 2 will probably get another re-release further on down the line at some
Yep.
point. But to Jeremy's point, don't count Cameron out. There's a reason why he's a staple in this business, and he creates new technology with different things. And also, like again, like I enjoyed Avatar. I think it's a monumental movie. As far as the story, it was like, okay, I get it, but is it something that I'm willing to be so invested in? And again, I enjoyed the Way of the Water trailer. I love the visuals, I love the music, the score, and I love how it's like these Avatar people are bonding with their planet. I love that.
Yep.
I'm not as hyped for it because I don't know what to expect other than a visual feast, if you will. Like other than that, I am interested in the story, but I just want to know more about it, more about it going in. And as of right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to hit $2 billion. But then again, stranger things have happened. Spider-Man No Way Home hit $1 billion. So and that's a good movie, rightfully so. But I didn't think that Aquaman would hit $1 billion, and that was
Yeah.
before the pandemic. So that's the thing. But what do you guys think? Do you think that James Cameron's movie Avatar: Way of Water will hit $2 billion by the end of its run? Just jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. And that would do it for today's episode of the Ask Alex Show. Please like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Every time I'm releasing a video here on my YouTube channel. Jeremy, where can we find you on YouTube and social media?
Do me a favor, check out Lucid Memory on YouTube. Since Alex and I have done a live stream together, I have done any content together. I have launched a new YouTube channel. It is a place for nostalgia. If you like 80s pop culture, in particular music, there's plenty of stuff over there. I'm doing original synthwave style music, outrun genre. I'm also doing cover songs of popular 80s top 40. And even if you weren't alive in the 80s, these songs. There's a lot of popular music on there. I'm doing kind of video experiences like arcades, retro arcades. I'm going to do a video rental store soon. Just places you can kind of go hang out. They're 24-hour live streams that you can go be a part of the community over there. I've also relaunched my Patreon, which you can find at Jeremy G Branch, because now it encompasses both the Pop Culture Nihilist as well as Lucid Memory. By supporting that Patreon, you are supporting two different YouTube channels. I'm getting all the tiers set up and all that stuff right now. And then also I am relaunching merchandise. I will have to update y'all on the information on how to find that on Teespring, but I've got a couple t-shirt designs in the mix. Jeremy G Parable on Twitter, and that's all I'll load you down with right now.
Awesome. And by the way, check out Lucid Memory. I remember when Jeremy came to me and about him making music and putting it out. We're always supportive of Jeremy, but when he put it out, it was actually really good. So if you follow
Thanks,
me
man.
on anytime, bro, if you follow me on social media, you see that I've been sharing his videos and also reposting them. They're actually really good. It's funny. There was one, I forget what it was. There was one track I was listening to on the way home from somewhere. I was about a good 45-minute drive, but I was just vibing the whole time.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, yo, like I could just like there isn't any lyrics to it, but I just wanted to like just vibe the whole time. So listen, if you guys want to check out his other channel, Lucid Memory, it is really dope. It is something to vibe to. Definitely check that out. Also check out his other channel, Pop Culture Nihilist. he recently did a live stream not too long ago, so definitely check that out as well. And you know where to find us here at Momentum Media, guys. More content's coming out, interviews, and a lot of other fun stuff coming out as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube channel. And as always, you guys have a blessed day.